person who puts his body and his heart and his voice on the line all the time for his own right to survive. So Faygo, you want to come up? Thank you.
Hello, everybody. So, hello.
Uh-oh.
So I was asked to talk.
Oh, this goes this
So I
way.
was. Hello.
Oh, it goes that
Oh,
way.
it sounds weird, I guess. So I was asked to kind of talk about, I believe it was the PBID's letter to the city council, as well as the anti-panhandling ordinance that they pushed for. So last year, the city council announced during a public meeting that they were going to do everything in their power to reduce restrictions on churches that made it so that they could not, or that hindered them from sheltering unhoused individuals. Well, what ended up happening with that is the business districts, all 11 of them, because Sacramento currently has 11 business districts. All of the 11 of them drafted a letter, signed it, and sent it to the city council opposing that move. Now, one thing this report doesn't mention about that is the city council members, the same ones that had said that they wanted to relieve these restrictions on churches from providing shelter, are sitting on this board of directors of these business districts, including our mayor, who's on like 3 of them. Steve Hansen's on at least 2. I think he's on 3 as well. So that's a major conflict of interests. Because how are you going to be sitting here telling the public you want to do one thing, and then sitting on this shadow government business district's board, signing a letter that tells you not to do the thing you just said you wanted to do? That's very deceptive. And it's taking all liability off of yourself and putting it on this shadow organization that you can denounce any involvement with. Now, this is part of a long-standing thing. Also, during the right to rest occupation, I mentioned this briefly during my little spiel before the meal. During the right to rest occupation, it was the business districts steadily lobbying the city council and our state governments to actually increase enforcement against unhoused individuals all over the city in an effort to try to drive homeless people out of the neighborhoods. Which brings us to the panhandling ordinance.
I got everything on film.
Passed in November of last year.
Send it to me.
Coincidentally, as a part of a package, they tried to sneak this in by attacking protesters' rights at the same time. They used it as a way of, basically they tried to say we couldn't go and picket politicians, which of course got the whole activist community in an uproar. What they were hoping is that we'd get so focused on that, we wouldn't notice the human rights violation of making it illegal to ask for help, which violates our First Amendment right.
And then it's supposed
so, a few of us made sure to bring that up multiple times when it came back. We even told them, this is going to end badly for you, city. They had one that was constitutional prior to that. I didn't like it still, but it was constitutional. It targeted specific behaviors. It was called the Soliciting Alms Ordinance. It targeted hounding, harassing, intimidating, coercing, or threatening people while asking for help. I don't necessarily think we should need a law that says that, but the fact that it only targeted actual negative behaviors while doing it, it was a sound ordinance. When they passed this new ordinance, it replaced that ordinance. So the new ordinance restricted when, where, how, not, like basically you could be just holding a sign in the wrong spot and be subject to a misdemeanor. A misdemeanor. That's up to a year in jail for asking for help. After a while, after several people had voiced concerns, the ACLU ended up contacting some people and contacting me. And we teamed up and filed, along with SHOC, Sacramento Regional Coalition to End Homelessness, and Legal Services in Northern California. We all teamed up and filed a lawsuit, a federal lawsuit, against the city of Sacramento seeking a preliminary injunction against that ordinance because it violates our rights. For one, what's the difference between me standing there at the driveway to a business that I'm boycotting with a sign that says boycott, and me standing there as a person with no food or no money saying I'm hungry? What's the difference? It's the same thing. It's still free speech. I'm still redressing my grievances, whether it's my grievance that this is an evil company or my grievance that I am hungry and I am poor. You know? So when we took this to court, it actually went a lot faster than I expected. I've watched a lot of different court cases. They tend to drag out. Within 2 actual times in the courtroom, the judge granted the preliminary injunction. The city had no evidence, had no defense for why they needed this ordinance. Other than the word of the business districts. The business districts kept complaining about a rise in aggressive behavior while panhandling. About a month after we got this preliminary injunction, News and Review did an article on this topic. And it turns out that the year prior to their passing this ordinance, there was actually a decrease, like a 30% decrease in police contacts with aggressive panhandlers. A 30% decrease. So you've got business districts saying that it's on the rise, people are being more aggressive. With me being out here myself and having to see people have to panhandle and asking me having to do it myself, I've actually seen people being more respectful than they used to be when they're trying to ask for help. So why make more restrictions? And there's a lot more I could say on these, but I think it's time for me to hand it over to the next speaker. So I just want to leave everybody with kind of an echo of what Nikki was saying. All of us are beautiful in our own ways. All of us have a right to exist. And the moment any artificial authority attempts to take that away from you, we need to make sure we find ways to resist that. Yeah. I'm not saying resist being arrested when a cop tries to arrest you unjustly, but we can resist it through the courts. We can resist it by finding the people that know how to organize and getting things done. We can resist it by making sure we know the laws ourselves so that we can start affecting that change. Come speak out at city council meetings. Talk to people about what's going on. Keep people informed, because that is one of the best tools we have, is knowing what they're doing. Thank you.
All right.